going, y'all? So I've been wanting to make this video for a while, so we're gonna talk about some passenger rail. So as you all know, right now, I believe Metra wants to extend their lines. Amtrak's expansion, but we're not gonna go talking about all this. The ones that are expanding cross country. We're doing Illinois wise. So normally, I've been wanting to make this video for almost like a week. I've had it planned out, but today I was like, today's the day. Let's make this video. So as you all know, Metra's extension. So we're going to talk about, I don't know if we're going to talk about Metra or Amtrak. So we're talking both Amtrak and Metra as well. So some of these routes are, some of them are what they're going to do, and some that, that are originally, if they wanted to plan it out for, let's say, what Amtrak want to expand it, because I'm doing Northern Illinois, basically. So Northern Illinois. So normally the lines from Northern Illinois as well, connecting, I don't know, or whatever. So some of the Metro ones are technically, some that are trying to connect to like up northern Wisconsin and mostly up to Chicagoland. So we're going to kick things off with, I believe, both Metra and Amtrak. So some of the Amtrak ones I've had written down. Some of them are to Iowa, basically. Iowa to Chicago. Some Iowa cities as well. But first of all, I want to kick off with the Metra. So first off, Metra's, I think the extension of the BNSF line, I believe this is what they would do if they would extend it on the BNSF line. So normally it would be on the Mendota sub. So basically the extension would go from, instead of starting in Aurora, they would extend it from Montgomery, Oswego, Yorkville, Plano to Sandwich. So the only ones will have to build, I believe, a train station would be Sandwich, Yorkville, Oswego, and Montgomery. So those four would have to build a train station there for Metra as well. Everyone except Plano, because Plano would probably use its Amtrak station. Because as you guys know, Amtrak also goes through Plano so they do make stops there from the likes of I believe the Illinois Zephyr from Quincy to Chicago stops there. I think the California Zephyr and the Southwest Chief as well goes through there as well, so the California Zephyr has been going through there for a long time. So that's another long distance train route from the Northern California to Chicago. The Southwest Chief, I believe, has been going there since the merger, because the Southwest Chief used to go on the Chillicothe sub. That was a former Santa Fe line. But once the merger happened, they moved it to the Mendota sub as well. So that would be the BNSF line. So next up, we got the UP West line. So I think they did this study, I believe, back in May, I believe. So this one would be, so the West line, if they would have to extend it, they'll probably extend it to probably DeKalb. So DeKalb, as you guys know, has Northern Illinois University, connecting another college city to the biggest city in Illinois. So basically, if DeKalb gets Metra, I don't know why I said Amtrak, but it would mean that all major college cities will have train service. So as you guys know, I believe Southern Illinois has Amtrak. University of Illinois down in Champaign also has Amtrak as well. So they both get the Illini train and I believe the New Orleans to Chicago train as well for Amtrak. Illinois State, Illinois Wesleyan, that's down in Bloomington Normal. They get the Lincoln service from St. Louis to Chicago, and they get the Texas Eagle from, I believe it ends in San Antonio or El Paso or to Chicago, where the Texas Eagle ends. It ends somewhere. I think it's either San Antonio or El Paso or Houston or whatever, where the Texas Eagle ends for Amtrak. So that Bloomington Normal, they have those two. Macomb, that's where Western Illinois is at. So they get the Illinois Zephyr from Quincy to Chicago. So, and also it makes sense because, DeKalb, so they got students that are from Chicago that go to Northern Illinois. It'd probably make it easy for them because they can just hop on a train from DeKalb to Chicago. So the West Line, it originally begins in Elburn, but I think extending it to DeKalb, it'll be a good one because I think up in DeKalb County, there's a lot of people from up there that go up to Chicago for like work and all of that. So it'll be easier for them to travel from work to DeKalb. Like they'll probably have to hop on a train, or whatever. So they'll probably have to get a bus technically in DeKalb. So they'll probably have to make like city buses or whatever. So next up is the electric line. So this one I found. So the electric line, so they would extend it from Bonnie, Mateo, Bourbonnais, Bradley, Kankakee. So this originally begins in University Park, but I don't know so extending it all the way to Kankakee. So I don't know about this extension to Kankakee because normally Kankakee has, I believe, Amtrak service there as well because it also is along the line from, I believe, Champaign as well. So to probably get the Illini and probably that New Orleans to Chicago train that also goes through Kankakee to Chicago as well. But I don't know about that line as well for Metra. If they do want to extend it to Kankakee, because currently right now, I think what they want to do is, they're trying to do, let's see what they're going out in the suburbs, because both of them, and then we got the HC. So there's only two towns I believe they're going to extend it to, Willington and Brangwood. So those are two towns I believe outside. And then next up, we got the UP Northwest line. And so there's no extension, but normally this is I believe the original one they've added. So there's two of them. One begins in Nick Henry. I believe one begins in Harvard as well. So Harvard and Nick Henry. So, because I know the Harvard one I know Harvard has grown as well with the impact of Metra as well. And then next up, we got the Milwaukee District North line. So that's technically, there's only 4 towns I believe I found. So there's Richmond, Lake Geneva, Pill Lake, and Spring Grove. So I'm not doing all the Metro lines. These are some of the Metro lines I've seen. So this is the Milwaukee District North line. I don't know if they're trying to get towards like up by Wisconsin and all that. So technically, I believe Lake Geneva, it's in Wisconsin. So from Chicago. So next up, we got the Milwaukee District West line. So originally, it's from Chicago to Elgin, but now they're going to extend it west with stops along with Huntley, Belvidere, Rockford to Rockford. So this is a big one that they announced it. So it's supposed to begin in 2027. So technically, train service is returning to Rockford, Illinois. So it's a big step, I believe, up there in Rockford. So technically what they're doing is, I believe, 2 trains per day as well. So I think they're trying to see what they want to do, see how it's going to turn out. Let's see, if they get like more trains. So they take like more trains each day because that's how they want to start, like 2 trains per day. I would say 2 trains per day. So normally with stops along with Belvidere and Huntley as well. So I think they should add so one of them I think they should add is one in Union by the train museum in Union. I think a lot of people want to go up to Union to the train museum there, railroad museum, and then probably for one in Marengo as well, because I think they should add Marengo as well. I'm surprised they didn't add the railroad museum in Union and they should have added the I think the Marengo as well, because Marengo, these, it can help those two towns as well. So technically, I think they're waiting to see if they can add Marengo and Union as well. And then also I believe the other day I found an article about the town of Freeport, the pretzel city. So Freeport they're seeing more passenger rail. So Northern Illinois, so they'll probably have to go, because normally we'd have to travel to get a charter bus, a terminal bus in Iowa. Normally, like you have to go up to Iowa, to Dubuque, or down to the Quad Cities, to their international airport to get something into Chicago, technically. So they're technically don't want people to spend their money outside of the state. So normally, because I think what Freeport wants, they want a train, a Metra train from there. So technically, they want to extend like the Milwaukee District West, because they're having talks. I think it's going to go through, because normally if they do get it, they'll talk with the Winnebago County to see what could do it. Because I know this one, the Rockford, is going to be a big impact for people that live up by Rockford as well, because Rockford hasn't had I think passenger rail service in a long time. So I think it's been almost since the beginning of Amtrak they had a line, and because I think originally they originally pitched Amtrak to go through Rockford to get a train there, but I believe Metra came in, I believe said, so mostly with these lines for Metra, they want to see, how good they can do like outside of the suburbs of Chicago. So I think it's a good one. Like, let's say if the West Line UP wants to extend it to Rochelle, and let's say like, oh yeah, there's rail fans that go to Chicago that travel up to Rochelle, sometimes the railroad park. So next up, we got the Amtrak ones. So Amtrak, so some of these they already have planned, and some that are technically, ideas I kind of had if they wanted to make more regional routes for Amtrak. So Amtrak has normally had, so the most normal lines go through, the Mendota sub and BNSF, the UP Joliet sub, mostly the Lincoln Service, and the Texas Eagle. I think Canadian National or somewhere, I think they got one that goes through Champaign and all that as well. So some of these lines are what I had like in my head and how would they do it. So some of these take you to Iowa. So here they are. So first up is, I think one they already have, is the Peoria to Chicago. Peoria to Chicago is a really, really great route. So the stops that they're going to make along the way is LaSalle, Peru, Utica, Ottawa, Morris, and Joliet. So Peoria is a great one, because I think where the station is going to be down in Peoria, it's probably going to be in the downtown Peoria along the Illinois River. So it's technically following the Illinois River all the way up to Chicago as well. So the first stop would have to be LaSalle, Peru, because I think LaSalle and Peru would have the share station together. So normally you have to get one. So next up, you got Unica. They got Star Rock. So Star Rock is a big destination up there. And with Amtrak, it would boost that city as well, Unica, because, you got Star Rock, a really good state park. Like, and let's say, like, with Amtrak too, like, if they want to expand more lines, if they want to bring them to, like, national parks or state parks as well, because I think with Unica, it'll be a good one. And then Ottawa and Morris, so following I-80, so you're following I-80 technically, and then Joliet, so they'll probably have to take they probably won't go through that diamond in the Joliet Union Station, technically. I don't know if they have a line on the I think it's along the I think Iowa Interstate owns that from Peoria line to Chicago. Unless it's owned by CSX, I don't know. Technically, because I think CSX normally goes through Illinois. Because normally, I think one time I went to Unica, I saw a CSX. I think a little working thing, or the tracks thing of CSX. Because normally, I think CSX normally goes through the West Coast, East Coast. But I think they've run some along Illinois. So next up was one that they originally talked about was the Moline to Chicago train. So the Quad Cities, for the last, I believe, almost a decade, have fought to get a train from the Quad Cities to Chicago. So normally they originally wanted the Amtrak train, because normally it would help. Because I think they wanted more train passenger rail service. Because normally by car, because I think a lot of it is because a lot of people travel through car, and a lot of people don't want to get through the traffic. Getting gas sometimes is a really tough. It's tough. So this one between Moline to Chicago was, I think it's so this one, so the first stop would be for that train would have to be from, in Geneseo, the town of Geneseo. So normally they would have to make it a 2 tracks along the Iowa Interstate, and a junction, and they'll probably have to get a junction in a small town, Wyanett, down in Bureau County, as well, so it can, because it switches from the Iowa Interstate to the BNSF, because the Mendota sub is. So the first stop would probably be Princeton and Mendota and Plano. So normally they will have to build 3 tracks, because normally I believe, because you got a lot of Amtrak, you got Amtrak going through your routes. And let's say, like you got Amtrak, like you got the Illinois Zephyr from Quincy to Chicago, you got the California Zephyr, and you got the Southwest Chief. So technically 3 Amtrak lines. And let's say if Metra extends the West line from Sandwich, and then you're going to have four passenger rail service to choose from, like, unless they make a stop in Naperville as well. So that's one of the lines as well that I think, what the problem is like, it's 2 tracks. You're trying to run 2 tracks, Normally a train would runs on 2 tracks. Because normally the 1 track situation, because there's some lines when I go rail fan, like when I go up to Rochelle. Normally the railroad park, and the toughest ones to get is BNSF. Because most of the line has 1 track, and then you have to switch it to 2 tracks. And so basically with the Mendota sub, if they did get one, they'll probably have to switch with the 3 tracks. And I think that's the problem, is money's involved and a bunch of political stuff, because this isn't a political video. This is talking about Amtrak's, expansion and Metra's extension. Normally I'm doing through Illinois, technically. Next up, Dubuque to Chicago. So this one I believe would have Rockford in it, because originally Rockford proposed, and Amtrak proposed a route to Rockford. But I don't think so. It's not going to happen now, because now they got Metra coming. So let's say if Dubuque wants a an Amtrak train to go through Dubuque. So let's say, if we can't go through Rockford, because, then the city would have to fight for either Amtrak or Metra to take. And also Freeport too, technically. Freeport is, I believe they want the train, because the town of Freeport, they want Metra to come to Freeport to Chicago, because they see the impact that's going to have on that region as well, in the Rockford region. So it's technically going to have a big impact. So let's say if we can't go through on their Canadian National or Canadian Pacific KC line. And let's take the Aurora sub to Chicago, the Amtrak train. So with the Aurora sub, they will have to build, 2 tracks. They will have to build 2 tracks along the lines. So one of the stops would be in Dubuque, and then East Dubuque would probably have to be another one. I believe Savannah and Polo and Millersville. I don't know if these 2 would host Amtrak trains as well. And then probably Oregon will have a stop there. So, because I know there's an old depot in Oregon as well. So probably Oregon as well. And then probably Rochelle will probably a good stop. Will probably be Rochelle, because normally the umpire builder takes a detour sometimes through the Aurora sub. We'll take a little detour, because normally it normally runs on Union Pacific. Because I think one of its destinations, because you look at Wisconsin, they have some really good destinations that the train goes through, like Milwaukee. Wisconsin Dells is a big one, because they get the umpire builder there as well. So normally what I say about, let's say if Rochelle, they want to go to Rochelle. Let's say rail fans are like, oh, let's go. Because Rochelle, as you guys know, have a railroad park where they get a bunch of rail fans today. So a lot of rail fans, because normally that's where I go. I go to Rochelle a lot, because I don't really go to other destinations. Because normally I go to Rochelle because that's my favorite spot. Because Rochelle, as you guys know, is my favorite spot. So let's say the BNSF line works, and then a stop probably in Sugar Grove as well, and probably Naperville. So then the racetrack would be. So then the scheduling on the racetrack would be, it'll be like, man, we got Metra, Illinois Zephyr, the California Zephyr, the Southwest Chief, the Moline to Chicago train, and then we got the Dubuque to Chicago train. And that'll make it 6. So this is what I have planned, is 6 passenger trains. And all 6 go to Chicago. All going to Chicago. So the original one, I believe, would go through Galena. So the original route for Amtrak, the Rockford one. So the original one was supposed to go through Galena, Freeport, Rockford, Genoa, and Elgin. So that was what the original line was supposed to be, going through like those towns. So that was what the original line, as you guys know, was supposed to be. So that's so next up we have the Cedar Rapids, Iowa to Chicago. So let's say if Iowa City wants a train, because University of Iowa is up there, then they'll probably have to add an extension on Wellington and Durant. I believe those towns are like. So I forgot to mention that as well, because that goes through. Because let's say if students from the University of Iowa that are from Chicago, and they say, oh yeah, we should get a train, an Amtrak train. And then they'll probably say, okay. And then they'll probably have to. It'll probably be the same thing too as the Iowa Interstate as well, because they'll probably have to get one for Bureau County. Would have to, extend the tracks to 2 tracks technically. So I forgot to mention that as well. So next up, we got Cedar Rapids to Chicago. So Cedar Rapids is along Union Pacific's own route. So this one will probably have stops in Lisbon. Grand Mountain will probably be a big one. DeWitt and Clinton along the Clinton sub. Unless if you add other ones like Clarence, Iowa, and some other towns that I don't know technically. So along the Geneva, Clinton would be the first one. Morrison, Sterling, Rock Falls, Region, Dixon, Franklin Grove and Ashton, Rochelle, and DeKalb. So I don't know if this one's gonna be true technically, because technically the Geneva sub is a busy route. It's a transcon route as well. So normally, so for Morrison, if they had to get a station, they'll probably have to get one probably downtown. But I don't know about Sterling and Rock Falls, because normally Sterling Rock Falls they'll probably put their station along the river, because let's say it would probably boost Rock Falls Sterling's like visitors who like Rock Falls, they have a hotel along the river. So Holiday Inn, like let's say if people travel, want to take a hotel, because normally that's a walk along the river and then the riverfront. Because I think like I'm from Rock Falls Sterling, because I grew up here. I grew up in this town. Because normally I know I have people that are watching my video are like, you're already talking about Amtrak or Metra coming to Sterling Rock Falls. Or some people are going to be like, oh man, you're nuts, you're crazy, all that. I was getting a passenger rail. So normally it would boost as well. Like what I'm saying with Sterling Rock Falls, because they have a lot of good places. Like the riverfront's a good place to check out. Probably, I would say the Dillon Home in Sterling. And they have a lot of good places to visit in Sterling Rock Falls. Like or someone's like, this kid wants an Amtrak train service from Chicago to Cedar Rapids as well. So this one is technically a route that I wish would happen, but I don't think it's going to happen as well. So Dixon would be probably a good one as well, because same thing too with Dixon. They'll have to build a station somewhere, like near, I don't know, like near the gate, like probably somewhere near like the neighborhood area in Dixon. They'll probably build one. So Dixon too, because a lot of people know Dixon is the hometown of President Reagan. They have the Reagan boyhood home, like, and then probably too, a lot of people do travel to Dixon for like around the 4th of July for the Petunia Festival, because I know that's a big one up in Dixon, is the Petunia Festival. Next up, these two, Franklin Grove and Ashton, two small towns outside of Dixon, in between Dixon and Rochelle. So I don't know if they would get stations as well, Franklin Grove and Ashton, Illinois, because these two are small towns, but if they did, it'll be good for them. And then next up, I technically talk about Rochelle. So Rochelle, same thing too at the Dubuque one, Chicago. So if they had two stations, like Rochelle, biggest problem is they'll have two train stations, one on the BNSF and one on Union Pacific. So they'll be busy, because as you guys know, and let's say it'll probably boost a lot for Rochelle, like the downtown. They'll probably have to put one in the downtown area of Rochelle. Technically, like this one, because two stations would be busy, because I know with Galesburg back in when the Burlington Northern and the Santa Fe rail lines used to go through Galesburg, they had two stations, one for the Illinois Zephyr and the California Zephyr that was on the Burlington Northern, and then one on the Santa Fe for the Southwest Chief as well. So they'll probably have to face the same way that Galesburg did, back in the early days, or back in days of before the BNSF merger happened as well. And then next up you have DeKalb. DeKalb is another college city would have to get more service, and then Amtrak and Metra will they'll probably have to choose. And let's say if they had to choose which train they want to hop on, Amtrak or Metra. It's like with Naperville as well, because I know there's some stations in Illinois that have both Amtrak and Metra go through, like Naperville is one on the racetrack that has both Metra and Amtrak as well. I think, Plano, if they did extend it, Metra to Plano, then Metra and Amtrak, they'll probably be on that one too. Then same thing too, like if the Butte to Chicago train happened and they had Metra as well, announcing that as well. Then they'll probably have to choose. Because technically you would choose, because I don't know if it'd be hard, because normally when I go up to Naperville along the racetrack. My family has done that a lot when we go up to Chicago. Like if we go to downtown, we'll either go, because the last few times I went up to Chicago, we took Metro. We took the Metro train up, but we didn't really take, because normally around time, because we normally didn't see Amtrak a lot as well. So if there's a future route, so normally this is all Illinois, technically Northern Illinois. I didn't put a lot of Illinois, so Northern and parts of Central Illinois as well. So if you like the video, please like it and hit the thumbs up button. And make sure to subscribe to my channel, because normally when I looked at it, so most of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. So if you do like the videos I make, like if you're a rail fan, please subscribe. Or if you're a high school sports fan, also as well, the videos I do make, also subscribe as well. Thank you for watching and have a great day.